Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Correct Diaries. Today, Riti and I are going to be talking about MBTIs. But before we get started on that, you know the drill. We're going to be suggesting you guys one thing that we've been obsessing lately. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if this is a recommendation that is necessarily someone would be interested in, but I really want to recommend an influencer that I follow. He's one of only 3 influencers that I follow actually, and this is something that I truly want to see his journey throughout his life because he's Kantaro-san, who walks around Japan, and his life seems so carefree. And it's all about like him walking around Japan, seeing all these beautiful sceneries, and it's just seems like I'm living my life through him almost, you know, like every day I really look forward to seeing his videos and see what he did that day.
Yeah.
But most importantly, he has a Shiba and her name is Sanchan, and Sanchan is the cutest Shiba ever. And the story of how he got Sanchan was he walked around Japan and he got into the city and he met this family who had so many like baby Shibas. The owner said that they're up for adoption, or if they won't be adopted, she's gonna have them auctioned in the next couple of days anyways.
Yeah.
But because the guy was already walking around Japan, he thought that he didn't have the right responsibilities to take care of like a dog. Let alone she was like 1 month old. She was like a puppy, you know. So he said no, and like he went out of the city, like he continued walking, but for so long like he kept thinking about Sanchan, so he walked back. Luckily Sanchan was still there. And he was like, oh, this is fate, so
it's meant to be.
Yeah, so he adopted Sanchan. I think it was the best decision ever because he literally blew up after he got Sanchan. The two of them just walk around Japan together.
Besties.
When Sanchan is sleeping while he's walking, like she will literally sleep in his jacket in front, just like dangling, you know.
Yeah, I've seen some videos, guys. It's very, very cute.
It's so cute. To be honest, I accidentally sent it to a group chat with Noah and Amira once.
Yeah, that was so funny. But I love how Amira just went along with it.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. But yeah, I really think that they're like the epitome of what life is all about.
Yeah, so jealous. It's okay, we'll live vicariously through them for now.
What about you? What are you recommending this week?
Mine is in a completely different world. I will be recommend a Dubai chocolate dupe. Yes, I won't be recommending the Dubai chocolate itself, but I'll be recommending a dupe, something that's way cheaper and something, in my opinion, is way more delicious than the original.
Oh, you have the original also?
I have tried the original, yeah, but I just thought it was a bit too sweet and like so pricey. I don't know.
How much was it?
I think it was like 60, yeah, something like that.
For a bar?
Yeah, for a bar. Yeah, so I found this through an auntie's recommendation. Of course, I feel like the aunties know everything. She told me that she got it at Lulu. So for a while, I was trying to find this in Lulu. I even went to like a larger Lulu, couldn't find it there. And then lo and behold, it was at Lulu right near our place, like a smaller Lulu. So I was surprised at that. It is just called Diamond Twist. The packaging is like green and it's in like these tiny little capsules. Oh, the brand is called Choco Lake. Yeah, and then it's called Diamond Twist. And they are sold in like a large bag, and it's like 450 grams, and they're sold for like around 34 dirhams, which I think is not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And easier to share also.
Yes, yeah. It's perfect for like if you want to give it to people as gifts abroad and stuff like that. Honestly, what do you think of the taste now that you had a try?
Yes, so Noha gave some to me. This is my first time had it. I didn't have the original one, but I thought it was so good. What do you call the fiber that's inside?
It's the kanafe itself.
Kanafe.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so good. Like it's crunchy, you know. And the pistachio paste really comes through.
Yeah, I found that some brands are like really sweet the way they do it. I think it's the chocolate itself, but this one's really, really yummy.
I can attest to that. Thank you for the recommendation. And now let's dive into this week's topic about MBTI.
So before we were planning for this episode, did you know what MBTI was?
Actually, the first time I ever heard of MBTI was from Single Inferno, because the participants talk in like this cryptic language that I've never heard of, like ENFJ or like ISTP or whatever, and I was like, what the heck is that? But because I was just watching for like fun, I was intrigued on like knowing what it was. And next thing you know, we went to Hot Pot with Nuha and two of her friends who turns out to be psychology majors in university as well. And they brought up the MBTI topic again. And I was like, oh, what is that? It's so funny because it's a legit thing.
Yeah.
That was the second time I've heard it. And
Yeah.
since then, I just did my test.
Yes, we thought that it would be a good idea to kind of like center this episode around the MBTI since Riti just did her test. So it's kind of like still fresh. And yeah, I think just briefly, the MBTI stands for Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, and it's a self-report like questionnaire that categorizes individuals into like 16 different personality types, you would say. There's 93 questions and it takes roughly 20 minutes to do. We're seeing this all on the website and like Wikipedia and stuff, so yeah. And yeah, I think the test just assigns like a binary value to each of the 4 categories. So there's introversion or extroversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, and judging or perceiving. This will all make sense when Riti and I tell you guys what our personalities are. Should I tell them what my MBTI is first?
Go ahead.
Okay. So mine is an INFJ. So for that, I am an advocate. INFJ stands for introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. On the website itself, yes, we're currently scrolling on 16personalities.com. That's where we took our test. The description for advocate is advocates are quiet visionaries, often serving as inspiring and tireless idealists. Unlike Riti, I've known about this personality quiz since I was like 15, 14.
What?
Yeah, I was very, very young when I first discovered this. Yeah, it was like in one of my psychology lessons probably is where yeah, like when I was in school. And I took it multiple times in various stages of my life because I used to be like kind of skeptical about these kind of quizzes because surely like as you grow up, your personality changes throughout the years, right?
Don't tell me the result didn't change ever.
The result didn't change for me. So like I'm taking it at like different points in my life. I remember taking it in like middle school, high school, and then like when I graduated high school, and then when I like before starting uni, and then some point in the middle of uni because I was just bored. And yeah, like literally every time I've taken it, it's always been INFJ.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I'm curious to see if you would be getting yours the same result if you take it maybe again in
a couple years.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's me.
Do you think the description of INFJ suits you?
I think
Since the result has never changed.
yeah, no, honestly, I like sometimes I'm like going back and like reading the strengths, the weaknesses, and all these things that the website kind of like goes through for you, and I realized that yeah, like it's me to a T in a sense that I've gone through some things in life maybe, and then I realized that oh wait, that's exactly how they're like describing me. Maybe they're onto something.
No, to be honest, when I look at your description, I think it suits you really well.
Yeah, it's crazy, no? It's crazy. It's really fun. I just don't know how serious we should be like taking these things, but that's something that we can talk about a bit later. Yeah. We'll get to that. So as I was saying, like I would go through the website and like just go through various descriptors that they have for like every personality. I thought that today Riti and I could just go through maybe 3 descriptors, 3 main categories, and then just talk about like what we have that's similar, that's different, what's a strength, what's a weakness, how we are in friendships, and how we are in our career paths and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah.
And so before we can do that, would you like to tell the audience what your MBTI is?
Do you want to tell them what you thought I was first?
Yes. So at the hot pot, me and my friends, we all thought that Riti would be ISTP. ISTP, I think it's introverted, observant, thinking, and prospecting. But she took hers just now, and she ended up being a
ENFJ.
Yeah.
I'm a protagonist. Mine is not that different from Luha actually. It's, instead of introverted, I'm extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging traits. But to be honest though, after reading like the ISTP description, it says bold and practical experimenters, masters of all kinds of tools. I can see it because I like to experiment with a lot of new skills or, tools in general. But after like I sat down and read the description of the results that I got for ENFJ, I can also see that being an ENFJ is more suited for me as well, because the description is these warm, forthright types love helping others, and they tend to have strong ideas and values. They back their perspective with creative energy to achieve their goals. And I think everyone who knows me can tell that I really love helping others.
Yeah.
And that's one of my love languages, actually, like service.
Mm.
And if I can do or like cook or anything for them, that's what I prefer to do.
Mhm.
And that's how I show love to them. And I do have very strong ideas that sometimes if I see an opposing idea, I really like want to drill down why they think differently from me.
Yep. I wonder if us being like ENFJ and INFJs have affected our like friendship with each other.
To be honest, I don't know. I guess we can go straight into like the strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, let's do
because
let's
it
do
kind of
that.
linked with this.
Yeah.
Because in our strengths, there's
Mm.
key similarities between the two of us.
For sure.
Like between our personalities.
Yeah.
Is being passionate and altruistic.
Yeah.
And I think this similarity really make us click.
Yeah. We get each other.
Yeah.
Like we just get each other and we kind of let that person do their thing. Because I'm seeing here for passionate, a sentence that's really sticking out is rather than living on autopilot or sticking to the status quo, they want to chase after their dreams.
Oh, we actually have different descriptions.
Oh, so I guess it's passionate for both, but different descriptions.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I didn't know this.
Interesting.
Do you want to continue with yours or?
I think that's one sentence that's like sticking out to me, and I don't know what to say to that because that's a loaded sentence. I'm not gonna lie. Chasing after my dreams, not sticking to the status quo. Yes, I suppose. Like I'm not really thinking about the status quo. Yes, I have dreams, but I never thought that it was something that makes it a personality. Does that make sense?
What? No, it clearly describes who you are. Like your personality makes you the way you are, and you're very passionate about what you want to achieve.
Yeah, right. So that's one sentence for my like passionate.
So don't you think that you're very passionate in like what you do?
Yeah. I definitely like am passionate about what I
that's
do,
what I thought.
but I just never thought that was me like not sticking to the status quo. You know what I mean? Like I never saw it like that.
Like you define your own life, and like you know,
I guess
that's definitely something that's not sticking to the status quo. So actually, for mine, it says under passionate, it says ENFJ personalities brim with interest, and they take great pleasure in pursuing their hobbies, whether that's hiking, cooking, dancing, growing plants, or something else entirely.
Oh my god,
that's crazy!
Oh my god, that's literally you.
I'm restless.
No, but isn't that so true? You're always trying new things. You always have new hobbies, but like it's not just like trying new hobbies or something. It's like you stick to them and you genuinely like invest in these hobbies and you're good at them.
So growing houseplants, I do have like 5 or 6 houseplants, but they're like the easy ones, you know, like snake plants, cactus. I have a ZZ as well and a bamboo, and all these don't really take that much effort. I only water them like once a month, really. So I was in need of a different hobby. That's why I picked up crocheting.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy that they brought that up. Oh, this is fun. And what does it say for your altruistic? Any sentence that stands out?
Something that stood out to me is that their unwavering inclination toward fairness often compels people with this personality type to advocate for those who are unable to do so for themselves. That's so true for me. Because I always tell people this, that I can always stand up for them, but when it comes to standing up for myself, I cannot do as much as I can do it for them.
Sure.
I cannot stand watching like my friends being mistreated or like my family members being mistreated. I've actually made someone cry before.
Oh boy.
But I didn't, like, you know, I was just in the heat of the moment. I just said certain things that I felt like I needed to stand up for them, you know. I cannot let it pass by, you know. So I can see why.
Yeah.
What does your altruistic part say?
So it says that INFJs want to use their strengths for the greater good, and they rarely lose sight of how their words and actions might affect others.
I think it's so you.
I think it's just like kind of highlights the sensitivity in me, maybe.
Yeah.
Like
I think that you always think 2 or 3 steps ahead of what other people would feel if you do this or say this.
Yeah.
That's why I always say this, that you think before you talk. But for me, I always talk. Like whatever's on top of my mind, I always say it.
Yeah, I think that's why we kind of like compliment each other.
Yeah, but
there's a bad side to each of these. Yeah. we humble each other.
Like to some extent, I think that's why the reason why I always like find so much comfort when I talk to you is that 1, you listen, and 2, I don't know how you do it. You always say the right thing.
No.
To some extent, because you're so sensitive about this, you don't lose sight of how the other person in front of you feel. The person receiving whatever you said always feel like so comforted, and it's, oh, that's just what I needed to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Because
Yeah.
I do like to think that I am thinking before I am saying something. But I can't help but feel like sometimes it can get quite exhausting, because sometimes maybe there's something that I want to say at the heat of the moment, but I always tell myself, like, I'll just give it a minute, see how I feel the next day. If it's still on my mind, then I'll bring it up, But yeah, sometimes I just never do, and I just suck it up and like move on. So those are I guess, the other side of it. Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. And I guess we were already kind of talking a little bit about like the weaknesses in reflecting about these strengths. But are there any weaknesses, or just maybe one weakness that you want to share that you feel like you can really relate to?
I guess mine kind of linked with what was already like said.
Mm-hmm.
It says here that I'm condescending. And it says people with this personality type enjoy teaching others, and it usually like comes off as being patronizing, and it's not the most effective strategy for persuading other people, unfortunately. And I think it's true, because sometimes, because I just blurt out what I feel is right, or what I think in that moment, it's unhelpful for both parties, because I don't get anything out of it, and the other person don't get anything out of it, because they think that I'm not even open to discussion. Like, who am I to tell them this is the right way, or like the correct way, So I guess this is the weakness that I should work on, or like be more aware of.
Do you think that it has ever occurred to you before that you do this?
To be honest, yes. Like, you guys always tell me that I sound very harsh, and I think that's why, because you guys are my friends, that's why you know who I am, and you don't take it like personally. But I think when it comes to people who just met me, that could be very intimidating, and like, it's hard for me to make friends. But I guess I'm not like this all the time, though. Like, when I just meeting new people, I'm very lighthearted. Like, I talk normally, like, I don't really like to share like opinions on the like get-go,
Okay.
So I guess to some extent I have like a mask before I show my true personality.
Or maybe you're just growing up.
I see. Maybe that. But don't you think that everyone have a mask for new
of
people?
course, for new people, naturally.
What about you? What's your weakness?
I think I've already touched upon it a little bit just now, but there's one that says it's perfectionistic. It says here, INFJs might find it difficult to appreciate their jobs, living situations, or relationships if they're continually fixating on imperfections and wondering whether they should be looking for something better. When I was reading this, I was like, but I am appreciative of my job, and I'm appreciative of my living like situations and relationships. And then Riti pointed out that maybe it's like you don't expect perfectionism in other things, but like more towards like myself. And yeah, that makes more sense now that I'm reading it again. Maybe just holding myself to a high standard.
Exactly.
And going back to what I was saying before about like how you said that I always say the right thing. So that's like, I guess it all ties together, because I'm just wary that I won't say quote unquote the perfect thing to like, I don't know, help someone.
Yeah.
And so that really gets to me. And I'll often like think about it a lot. Yeah. I see another one that I kind of want to like share. It says here, reluctant to open up.
Do you want to open up?
Yeah, I'll open up to a bunch of people who are listening into our podcast I may or may not know. But I see this because it has been something that I struggle with, actually. Just like, I find it difficult to open up and be vulnerable about my struggles, and the website literally says not wanting to burden someone else with their issues. And like, that is very true. That is a trait that I have. They also say, unfortunately, when they don't ask for help, they may inadvertently hold themselves back or create distance in their relationships. So it becomes kind of like a self-sabotage moment, and that has happened to me a couple of times, where I will like just create distance because I'm not opening up, and like, you kind of like withdraw from social situations. And yeah, that's on me.
Do you think you've seen some improvements in that aspect? And if so, like, what do you do to achieve that?
I think growing up, I used to think that I should have many friends, and to every friend that I am friends with, I would have to like open up, and like talk to them about literally everything. But I think as I got older, I'm realizing that literally like 2 or 3 friends is all you need, and those are the people that you should really like break your walls down with, you know, like that's all you need. So I think I like to think that I'm getting better, like opening up and stuff, because I'm not putting pressure on myself to like make lots of friends and be equally intimate with everyone.
Yeah. I don't think anyone can do that. It's too tiring.
Yeah. But see, I had this notion growing up. I was like, oh, people must like me and stuff like that. But I think just getting older, I'm like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I think that goes like nicely into the next, I guess, category that we want to reflect on, which is friendships. Anything that's like standing out to you?
Something that stood out to me is it says here that ENFJs put sincere, dedicated effort into staying close with their friends.
So true.
I think I see it inside in me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like having a lot of friends since I was young, to be honest. I only like to keep like a few close friends and maybe acquaintances, like those who I say hi to, and like, yes, I do occasionally go out with them and stuff. But it's hard for me to truly like open up and talk about everything like you just said, right? And once I identify someone as my close friends, I genuinely like care for them, and I put the extra effort to make sure that I do give them something in the relationship that we are building, you know, and like trust and like, you know, love and kindness. Yeah,
Ride or die.
yeah, that sort of thing. Like if I identify you as a close friend, like we're close friends for life.
Yeah. And I see this in you. Like, what does it say about like investing? I think you invest in your friendships a lot and you make it work no matter the distance. And I think even if you are not actively seeing them in the present, you are always keeping in touch with friends. And I know you do that so well, and that's really difficult to do when you're already trying to like live life in the present, but I think you keep in touch so well. Like that's something that I struggle with.
No, to be honest, I'm good at keeping in touch with people who I know are like physically in the same city or something.
Okay.
But when it's like long distance, it becomes harder. To be honest though, with you it was different. We called very often when it was back
Yeah,
home.
and you know, I'm realizing literally you're the only person that I did that with.
No, what got us together was we watched so many Korean movies.
Yes, I think that was our motivator at the time, our
yeah.
K-drama era.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, okay, fair enough. No, because I am not doing this with any other people. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm very much I see you in the present kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Like, it's so hard for me to keep in touch. And I don't know, maybe it's just like excuses or whatever, but like, yeah, I don't
think so. I don't think it's excuses.
It's just life, I guess.
It's just life. Like, you get busy. You
Yeah.
know? Like, there's so many people and so many things happening. And I'm sure, like, everyone else who living in different countries, like, they're going through the same thing. And they're probably understanding that, like, yeah, look, girl, like, don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm also
exactly.
busy.
Exactly.
What about you? Is there anything that stood out in your friendship's description?
I guess this is something that we just talked about also. It says INFJ personalities crave authentic, meaningful friendships that allow them to share their dreams, bare their soul, and feel understood and accepted for who they are. And if that means having just 1 or 2 confidants there rather than a wide circle of acquaintances, so be it.
So you kind of grew into your personality.
Yes, which is really interesting. So, yeah. And it's interesting to think that, like, I've always gotten this personality type throughout the years, but, you know, but I think I was just, like, lying to myself about needing, like, many friends, you know, and stuff like that. Just the validation is, you know.
Deep down, you know who you were.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it also says here, while INFJs may seem quiet or reserved to the world at large, these personalities absolutely light up around their close friends. Would you say you agree?
I think so. To the T.
I mean, same with you, but I think you get along well with a lot of people.
Yeah. The podcast with Sheza, we thought you were easygoing.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know whether you grew into your personality or you built this personality to manipulate all of us.
Interesting. Do they say something about that in 16 personalities?
Yeah, because you are so perceptive, you know?
Yeah. Anyways.
Cannot trust INFJs, guys.
This is what Riti's taking away from this test, guys. Not her stuff, but my stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think that was a little bit of a summary on how we are with, like, and how we think about friendships. Now, I want to get into the big stuff. Career paths. because I think that's very relevant to where we are today. And I just want to see what it says about us in our careers. It's reading me right now. I am truly like living this personality type.
What does it say?
It says, for people with the INFJ personality type, professional decisions are not guided by conventional yardsticks of success like financial gain or status, but by the potential their work holds for meaningful connection and personal fulfillment. To INFJs, a job isn't satisfying if it doesn't offer a deeper sense of purpose, no matter how good the salary is. Retweet. Let me tell you, I'm going through that right now. Wow. And then I think it also even tells you, like, it even tells, like, the type of, like, the actual professions that INFJs gravitate towards. And it's counselors, therapists, psychologists, social workers, teachers, yoga instructors, and spiritual leaders. I won't say
That's
which one of
crazy.
those am I, but I am in there, guys.
Not just one, but three. Three of those describe who you are.
I am in there. So, yeah, I am currently living this sentence. That's crazy. That's crazy. I really like lived up to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's true. Like, I really, when I'm thinking about it, what I do, it's not glam in terms of like how much you make and stuff like that. I will like say that much.
Yeah.
Really, I do it because of like how it makes me feel and like because it's rewarding to me. So I guess that's why I never really thought about like how good the salary can be or stuff like that, because at the end of the day, it's what am I getting out of my job? How am I growing from that job and what it does to me as a person? So I guess I don't really care so much about the salary. Yes, that's important too, but maybe I just put more weight on like meaningful connection and personal fulfillment. Yeah.
I think it describes you so well. Yeah.
What about you?
Okay, mine says that this personality type find fulfillment in doing what they love most, helping others. I have emotional intelligence and social skills that can make me excel in nearly any people-oriented field, such as human resources, event management, recruiting, or public relations. I disagree at this part.
Okay. Tell me why.
Because I hate working with people, man. I'm good if you stick me in front of Excel or whatever, look at numbers all day, I'm good with it. Not like I don't want to work in a team. I would love to work with a team and stuff, but I cannot work with like, let's say I'm face to face with clients. It's hard for me, man. First of all, I can say that I'm not in any of that field. That's why I don't think it's true at all. I also continue to say that they may find themselves in jobs such as consultants, advisors, and managers. And yes, my
there
current job.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. You have a winner.
But I don't know. I feel like yours had so little profession described in there. And mine was kind of like just throwing everything possible to make sure that something sticks.
I wonder if it's the E in you.
Could be.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're a bit more like, you can do a little bit more in terms of
To be honest,
profession.
when I was doing the questionnaire, when it came to like these questions about being emotional, about stuff, I was thinking hard on it. And I'm like, I am very perceptive on how other people feel, because I really want to learn like about what they feel and how they think about certain topics and stuff. And I always like, I love these type of deep conversations with my friends.
Yeah.
But I don't like bringing this into my work.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm very straightforward, strictly with like facts and numbers, and yeah, like in my career. I guess I don't feel comfortable talking about controversial topics or needing to know their emotions.
So like, I guess if your job doesn't need it, why would you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you're just focusing on numbers and all that, then
Yeah. Exactly.
That makes sense. If we're very emotionally driven in our work, I think it's like really important to
but
be.
But like you're emotionally driven in your work and your personal life.
Oh yeah.
I'm not.
Mm-mm.
I'm very cut and dry at work. Sometimes I'm cut and dry in real life. But I do have more emotions when it comes to personal
Not your
life.
voice like wavering. Okay. Well, at least it got you in there eventually.
Yeah,
Got you
after
in
like
there
10
eventually.
tries.
Yeah. They're like, wait. But if that's not you, then how about this?
Yeah. This is a bit sus.
That's a bit sus. Then I guess it really makes me wonder, like, should we take these tests so seriously to the point where, like, because I know back when we were in college, I remember going to like the CDC, so like
Careers Development Center.
yeah,
right?
so where you go to like to get help or like the future and stuff, like in terms of career and stuff. They had these posters and it's like, do you know what your MBTI is? Your future employers might
what?
ask. Yeah. There were some posters along in the center. And so that was the first time where I like realized that, oh wait, I guess it matters for work and stuff like that. But when I was taking these tests as a teenager, of course I wasn't like, I was just wondering like, oh, what type of friend am I? But I never thought about like what kind of employee I could be and stuff until now. So having read your results, and I can talk about mine a bit later after yours in terms of like career paths. We haven't even actually gotten to workplace habits. I don't know if you've read your workplace habits yet.
I haven't read mine yet, actually.
Okay, maybe we can go through workplace habits first.
Girl. Okay.
Talk to me.
Mine says that I'm very warm, idealistic, charismatic, and creative and social. I'm generally likable and good-natured. And I'm very ambitious and organized, which I am.
Yes,
I think.
yes.
And that I like to push myself to prove my merit and dedication and stuff like that, and to make a good impression to my boss, I guess. But unfortunately, some managers may take advantage of ENFJ's work ethic by making too many requests or overburdening them with extra work.
What do you think about that?
Girl, I've experienced this. This is crazy.
Are you getting flashbacks?
I'm getting flashbacks. I'm reliving it.
Yeah.
Although these personalities are more than capable of standing up for themselves, they may still accept all of these additional tasks in order to keep the peace and avoid letting others down.
Yep. Riti learned this the hard way.
Yeah.
But do you think you were still like that?
Probably.
Yeah. It's hard to just not be that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, one thing about these personality quizzes, like, yes, I acknowledge that that's me, but am I going to change?
Yeah.
Will I do anything to
hard.
change? That's hard. It's part of you.
Yeah. But to be honest though, like in my current workplace, like our manager always tell us literally like, don't accept everything as you are told.
Yeah.
Always be creative, think on your own, and like always stand up.
Yeah.
Because you know what first thing I ever told him was, we were just talking like over coffee and stuff, and I told him like one thing that I learned when I grew up was to always bow my head down no matter what, even if it's not your fault. Like someone higher up is blaming you for something, like just bow your head down and say sorry and hope that the apologies will make them forget and realize later that it's really not your fault. But he's told me like, why, who taught you that? Like, that's so not what you're supposed to tell kids to grow up with. That's not the moral that you're supposed to grow up with, because you should never apologize when it's not your fault. Because like, even if like your manager is upset about something, like, yes, I understand they can have personal life that could potentially affect them, or someone higher up above them is like putting pressure on them and they put pressure on you, like it's still unfair that they are taking it on you.
Yeah.
And you should like define the boundary and like stand up for yourself then, because they'll keep doing it and they'll think it's okay, and it's gonna be like a repetitive pattern.
Oof. It's kind of like hitting me because for like my descriptions, like one of the things that's said about INFJs, like workplace habits, is that at times efficiency may be less of a priority for INFJs than collaborating with and helping colleagues who need a boost. While this is usually a strength, there is a risk that others will take advantage of INFJs' desire to help. They may find themselves picking up the slack for their less dedicated coworkers at the expense of their own energy and well-being. So
can I rat you out on something? Or
okay,
no?
tell me.
Because you told me like, unfortunately, when you started working, you exposed yourself that you knew how to use something. I forgot what it was.
It's just like technology stuff.
Yeah. And then you could never go back.
I mean, it's true. But like, I wonder if the people listening in go through that too. You know, when you accidentally expose yourself and say like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, and then all of a sudden like
you're the IT department.
I'm the IT department. Yeah. No, I love my coworkers, but like, yeah, I think it's just funny. I mean, someone's got to do it. Right? I'll take one for the team. I'm happy to do that. But
I bet you only said this to please everyone.
Oh my god. Okay, guys, I think introducing the MBTIs to Riti was not a good idea. Tell me why she's memorized my personality type.
I'm psychoanalyzing you.
Yeah, I think it's true that I think that people will notice and take advantage of like my desire to help, because I do appreciate like collaboration, and like I really strive to like help colleagues who need a boost. So I never think that like being efficient is like important at the end of the day. I always reflect on like how mentally exhausted are we. You know, it's not about like hitting the KPIs or whatever. Well, that those are important. I think at the end of the day for me, because of the nature of the work that we do in the first place, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always like, if I can make someone's day a little bit less exhausting, I will.
But what if you're already so exhausted yourself? Like, who's gonna take care of you?
That's for when I get home.
See? You don't put yourself first.
I think this was a question that you had before. No, you were like, I think this is a question for both of us. As two people with a strong sense of empathy, do you find it challenging to balance taking care of others while making sure your own needs are met? And how do you manage that?
Oof.
It's a loaded
To be
one.
honest though, like, yes, I am empathetic towards people, but I choose who I want to be empathetic with. I don't.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but like some people, I just like to keep them at a distance, and I will never want to know. Okay, this is painting a very bad image of who I am, but it's exhausting, guys. You can't keep being empathetic with everyone.
I mean, yeah, it's true. I think for me, it's just like I literally can't help it. I mean, it's actually, it's what I do.
Yeah.
Like, it's my job.
Yeah.
So I have to, but it's not that I feel like I have to. Like,
You enjoy it.
I enjoy it, and it makes me feel alive when I'm like helping people, and like I know I'm doing something to make a difference. And it's not just for the people that I work with, but it's also for me. I like can feel that I'm growing as a person, and sometimes, yes, that can lead to a burnout, but in those moments I'm proud to say that I am noticing it, I am realizing it, and that's what personal wellness days are for. You know, like, you take those days, guys. Don't be like me. And don't just save them up. Those days won't come.
You've changed. Oh my, I remember when you first started working, it was like, oh, I have like so many personal wellness days. I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
And now I understand why, because your workplace, like, you really need your personal, days.
Yeah.
Because yes, you're not sick, but literally you cannot physically go to work anymore because you need time to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think someone who designed this gone through that, and they're like, I'm not sick, but I feel like I cannot go, because if you personally so burnt out, you go to work, you're not helpful.
Yeah, it affects your performance 100%.
And especially in your job, like, it really affects it.
Yeah,
It's more than just, okay, if I'm not as motivated, I go and stare at numbers, computers, whatever. I'm not really affecting anyone else around me, but you work with people.
Exactly. And I've noticed that, and because I know that that's something that I am passionate about, something that I really care about, I will do my best to like show up for it,
Yeah.
So in terms of like balancing, I think that's just being aware and realizing that I need to take care of myself in order to do well at my job.
Yeah.
That took a while for me to understand. I think I still feel guilty these days if I'm just like having a headache or a migraine and I need to call off sick. I still feel so guilty, but that's like my right, and like as a responsible employee. So this is very interesting.
Okay, I guess going back to talking about career paths and our work habits, do you think it's important to know your personality type for work?
Now that I think about it, I did not like really, I guess, take it seriously for when I first started my job, and I kind of wish I did, because now, like, knowing this, maybe it would have helped me a little bit transitioning into like work, going like, after graduation and stuff, because I told you that I've taken this test a few times growing up, but never took career path seriously because that was not something that I was going through yet. And then when I did, I completely forgot to look back at it and like maybe see what this personality test has to say about my workplace habits, for example. But I do remember when I was like in high school and doing the IB exams, I was looking at career paths, and I think that I never strayed away from, because I always knew that I wanted to help people. So that was something that, yes, I was aware of. But workplace habits, I think that's important to check, for work and stuff like that. I think it also helps, because if you're reading this about yourself, then doesn't it also mean that the people you work with are kind of similar in that regard? I don't know, a little bit.
That's true, because it's saying that if you're a certain personality,
you gravitate towards these. Yeah. And now I'm like reflecting on everyone that I'm working with, and I'm just like, do we have similar personality types? And I think it's good to know this about yourself, but also like about other people too, and the people that you're working with, just to like recognize the people that you're working with, how to get along with them, how to make days, like, you know, how to just interact.
If you're in the same profession, doesn't necessarily mean
Yeah.
the same, because people can turn out to be in a profession through different reasons. You know? They're not necessarily do something that they like.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But it's not necessarily that if you are this, you are this personality type.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Do you think employers should use these type of tests to select who should join their companies?
Oh God, that I don't know about.
When you were applying for this job, did you have to do like personality tests?
No, not for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not for me, actually.
But what about the interviews? Do you think they used, like, they kind of phrased their questions around that to kind of test what you are?
Perhaps when they ask about like strengths and weaknesses, right? I think that maybe they can sense something about it. Yeah, so some of your personalities will shine through when you talk about your strengths and weaknesses, even when you present yourself, even how you talk about the job, you know, when you are interviewing stuff. I think those things.
I see. I've done these tests.
Yeah, I know you have.
Yeah, I've done so many. They would create like different scenarios.
Yeah.
Let's say about deadlines all of a sudden moved up like to 1 week, and your coworker is sick out or whatever. Like, what do you do? And you have to rank it. This is the most likely of what you do to the least that you would choose to do. Or something like, if your coworker is struggling and you already have so much work to do, what do you do then? So it like really creates these real world scenarios that, for instance, you want to help people, but in this case you're so overwhelmed already, and you see someone struggling. Who do you prioritize? How do you do this?
Right.
If you choose to help them when you're drowning, both of you will drown.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh my God, I feel like if I had that kind of test for my job, I don't think I'd ask. We know who I would choose, especially before I started actually working. But then doesn't that make you question, like, what if that person grows?
Yeah.
What if the person that chose that answer is not the person that they are after they've begun working? Like, yes, maybe before I started my job, I would say, yeah, whatever, I don't care about myself, I'm just gonna save that person. Now that I've started working and I realized and I realized that no, like, in order to save that person or whatever, you also have to like prioritize yourself and all that. So, and I wouldn't know all that without this experience.
That's true. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. It's one way to kind of reduce the resumes, I guess, you know, like if you're getting thousands of applicants, and you need a system to kind of cut it down to, like, you know, top applicants, then I guess it makes sense. But yeah, to be honest, I've only gotten these with the huge companies.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense for them.
Yeah, but it's kind of sad because like your CV is never read by actual people. Like most of the CVs.
Yeah. So then I guess in conclusion, going back to the question that we had posed in the very beginning of the episode, do we take these tests seriously? Should we?
I don't know. I think to some extent, yes. It's good to realize what kind of person you are, because this doesn't always tell you like, oh, you're good at this, you're great, you're amazing, like blah blah blah, but it also highlights what are your weaknesses, and realizing that certain personalities are good at certain things and you're bad at certain things. You can choose to focus on your strength, I guess, but you can also choose to look at your weakness and see you as a person you can develop and you can improve, you know. So I think to some extent it's true, but don't also like limit yourself to this.
Yeah, no, I agree about that. You can choose to look at the weaknesses and see how you can become a better person, or like what your shortcomings are, for sure. For me, I would say that it's always good to self-reflect. And so I think that's why these questionnaires are really fun to do. You just kind of self-reflect and see where you are, like who you are and all that stuff. I think in terms of like telling you what to do with your life, that's not something that should be taken seriously. I think like I know some websites out there will even tell you to the point of like which personality type should be your partner in life, or which personality types are more suited towards your friendships and stuff like that. I think that's something not like to avoid. I think it's nice to just look through the descriptions and like read about yourself so that you can like make those decisions on your own. But don't just blindly like be like, oh, I am an INFJ, so I should only be friends with ENFJs or like ISTPs and stuff like that. You know, don't restrict yourself to that regard and don't take the test super seriously to that point. Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Agreed. I think reflection is really important because you have to realize who you are as a person to be able to know what you want to build in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, for yourself.
100%. And
Yeah.
this test is just one of the ways to do it. Obviously, there are multiple personality quizzes out there, so always take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
This personality quiz tells me I'm this way, but maybe another personality quiz will tell me I'm a different person. But at the end of the day, you're just kind of doing it to reflect on where you are in life and where you were in the past and where you would be in the future.
For sure. And for those who are very interested in taking this test yourself, we'll attach the link in the comments, and we would love to hear about it. If you ever take the test, just reply to our comments and say what your personality types are, and see if it's any true. How to what percentage do you agree that this describe you as a person?
Yeah, we would love to know. And I think maybe this time we'll try to even reply back, because I see people's comments, but I think I just don't know what to respond besides liking. And also, fun fact, I did not know that you can like comments until Riti showed me.
On Spotify.
On Spotify, yeah. So yeah, let us know what your personality types are. We would love to know what our audience is like.
So I guess this wraps up this week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.